Okay, today I'm going to do a dress here, and I've already soaked it in soda ash and spun it out and then hung it to dry. So this is a nice bone dry dress here. I folded it in half, so this here is the middle. I turned the dress inside out, so this here is going to be the middle of the back, and the front is of course tucked inside here. So I'm going to do a twist on the RonStar fold. Instead of doing the airplane fold where we come down to a point, we're just going to do accordion folds. So what I've done, like I say, this here is the front and back of the dress right down the middle, and I've marked off a few lines here at 4 inches. So I'm just going to fold up and do 4-inch accordion folds here. And the way I like to do is I'll lay my yardstick in there, and then I can just fold over and pull tight right against there, but you got to hold it flat. Sorry. Okay, let's try that again. So hold that nice and tight, and then you can fold this back, and you get a nice straight fold there. Okay, fold the front over. Once I have this all evened and flat, then I'll reach in there and slide my yardstick out. And one of the things you can do is you can just run an iron down there real quick just to give that a bit of a crease. But then I'll put my yardstick back on here, and I'm feeling for the fold, the middle of the dress there. And then I'll hold that, fold back over. So this way I'm getting nice 4-inch accordion pleats here. We'll take the yardstick out one more time, and we'll lay it straight along this edge and fold this last tail back. And then since this here is not quite even, I'll just tuck that under. Okay, so there's half of the dress done. Now if you hold on top and bottom, and I try to make sure that I'm holding the whole crease there, I can pick this up, flip it over, nice and neat, and then I can do the same thing. And I don't have to mark it out because I already have this crease right here, this fold. So I'll just put my yardstick in that same place, fold this up, and then you can kind of use the yardstick to straighten that fold out a little bit. Just give that a little bit of a push. And once you have that straight, and pull the yardstick back out. And then we're going to lay it right along that crease there and fold this back over. Okay, we're just about ready here for the fun part of the tying on this side. Flip that over, and then we'll tuck that little fold right under there. Okay, I'm back. The other thing that I have done is put some clips on the dress. That's just to kind of hold it as I'm flipping this thing back and forth and around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down here at the bottom and fold this first edge over. So I'm just taking this edge right here, the one that's facing away from me, and I'm going to line it up basically right along this hem here. So I'm just folding that straight over. Just like that. Let's zoom in some. Okay, now I'm going to take my sinew, and I'm going to tie right around that edge there. Usually what I'll do is I'll wrap it a couple times, give it just a little bit of a tug to take out some slack, wrap it a couple more times. And I'll give that a nice pull. Let's zoom back out here. Give that a nice pull. We'll wrap one more time just for good measure. And now we're going to take this edge. So just like with the RonStar, you're just folding back and forth. So I'm going to fold that back over. And then I'm going to wrap this under and around right over that edge there. So I'll wrap around twice. I give it a little bit of a tug to tighten it up some. And then I wrap a couple more times and pull it tight. And then we're going to fold this edge. So basically we just keep back and forth flipping the edges. So this edge here is going to line up right here. Take that fresh clip off. And then we're going to wrap this into again the same way. And of course, the more that you fold this, you can fold this straight over without any overlap here. Or you can put a little bit of an overlap. So I got a little bit of a space here. And what that's going to do is give you taller peaks. So like on the RonStar, you have the peaks of the star that go up like this here, around. So what I'm doing, depending on how much room you give here, is how big your peaks are going to be. I don't know if anybody can see that, but so it's something that you can play with and get different results depending on how big of a fold you put in there. So that's the part for experimentation. Okay, I need more sinew. Hold on. Okay. The other thing, I try to line my sinew up in the same place here. That keeps you from pinching off a little piece of the fabric if you are tying the sinew on top of itself. Sometimes if you pinch off a little piece, if you pull too hard, you can put a hole in the fabric that way. Alright, so when you get down to the end, you got to make sure all your folds are still lined up here. And I think we'll just do this in one last fold here. Alright, let's spin this around. Alright, so there's the twist on the RonStar. And you can start from the top of the dress and go down. What that's going to do is just reverse. So I was talking about the points before. So this here is where the top of the dress is going to be up here, so the points are going to be pointing up. But if you start at the top and you tie, then your points are going to be going down the dress. So you'll see that at the end. So anyways, you can liquid dye this, but I'm going to ice dye it just to give some more variation than that. So I'll come back once I'm set up for ice dyeing. Okay, so the next thing I do when I'm ice dyeing is after I've got the t-shirt folded, I go ahead and build my barricade for my ice so that it's all ready to go. So once I have it the shape that I want, then I can pull that off and then I can start putting my dyes on. Today I'm going to use bronze. These are all Dharma dyes. New emerald green, truffle brown, and then once I'm done, I put ice on, then I'm going to throw some power berry over top of it. So I'm no expert at ice dyeing, but this here is how I do it. The other thing, when I'm ice dyeing, anytime I'm working with my powders, I always have one of these masks. It's got the filters on here. This is one of the good ones. Problem is, when I'm wearing this, you can't hear me talk very well, so I'm going to explain the process ahead of time. I'm just going to, I have plastic spoons, and I'm going to dip in and just sprinkle dye on these various sections, overlapping just however the mood strikes me. So once I'm done with that, then we'll put some ice on, and I'll explain that as I go. For now, the mask is on. Okay, now I'm going to put some ice on here. So I'm going to put the barricade back over top of it. Let me get my braces. Okay, so what I've done is I filled a bottle with some water just to kind of brace and push against this, and I got a couple bottles sitting on this other side. That just kind of squeezes this in. And then I'm just going to start putting some ice on here. And I try to set it on slowly so that I don't knock any more powder off than is necessary. I have a big chunk. I can kind of set that in there. Balance it where I want it. And this bag of ice is used strictly for ice dyeing. I don't use this for household so I can use my bare hands and stuff reaching into this bag, because we're not going to actually put this in drinks or anything like that. So this one, I want everything to soak through. Hopefully I'm going to dye this just from one side, but I'll have to check it later and see if I need to flip it and add more dye at the other side. But I'm going to put a lot of ice on, and then I'm going to give it a sprinkle of the Power Berry. Okay, now we're just going to leave this sit. I'm going to let the ice melt on this. Once the ice is completely melted, then I'll lift it up and look on the bottom side. If I see a nice color on the bottom, then it'll be good to go. If it's a little bit of color but a lot of white, then usually I can go ahead and I can check to see if I need to add more powder. But sometimes I can get away with just adding more ice just to force more of the dye through there. But if it's completely white, then I can flip it over and put dye and ice on the other side. But we'll get back to this and I'll show you the results at the end. Thank you for watching. It's time to open up the dress. So here we go. I'm gonna unwrap this and we'll open it up and see what we got. Alright, well, it's hard to see. Once we wash it, we'll see more of that patterning.